Okay, the next project is Town of Pomaria, the old Pomaria School Building Renovation, Mayor Darrell Hicks.
And while I'm stepping up here, I want to introduce Councilman Jimmy Wilson. He's going to be here to answer any technical cost questions you may have. And sometimes I'm a little IT challenged.
Don't feel bad.
We'll try to make it work. And I'd like to also echo what Brent said earlier, and my sympathies are with the families and all. We've had a very tragic weekend, and hopefully move beyond that.
One is on down, one more.
One more?
There you go.
Few pictures?
Down.
Right there. Thank you, sir. Now, make sure I can do the clicker. I'll get everything. Okay, we can get out of that part. Mr. Chairman and members of the County Project Sales Tax, I'd like to thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak tonight. With open, I'd like to say that the Mayor and Town Council of Pomaria, together with interested citizens, community organizations, and the Old Pomaria School Reunion Incorporated, have developed a plan that will establish a public facility at the Pomaria School building to serve all community members. In all areas, especially a small rural town like Pomaria, it is important to have a physical location where citizens, community leaders, and community organizations can connect on a regular basis to assess, plan, work, and socialize. This assists in cultivating a strong and diverse sense of community which keeps citizens connected. This project will provide a public facility that will be utilized to provide safety, education, civic enhancement, recreational opportunities to citizens of all ages. And I'd like to start and kind of mention the property that we're talking about here at Old Pomaria School. The buildings that you see here stand on about 4.5 acres of property, which currently we have 2 buildings on that property and a walking track that is 1/4 mile, which came from a prior county sales tax property. When we acquired the property back in 2000, there were 3 buildings. The initial building was built in 1913 through an agreement with the Town of Pomaria and the Newberry School District. That building was demolished. The school district was only, at that time, the Pomaria School, they were only using the administrative offices. The classrooms could not be used. They were not safe enough to be used. So through that agreement, that building was demolished. We have the other 2 buildings. The second building, which you see directly in front of you, is an auditorium and includes 2 floors with 5 classrooms on each floor and restrooms in the basement. That structure was built in 1935. And directly below that, there's a building, it's the cafeteria. That was built during the fiscal year 58-59, and that was to feed the students at the school. Now the cafeteria, that's the first building that we approached and tackled and did most of the updates. We have upgraded about $48,000 worth of improvements in that building. Of that $48,000, $32,000 come from town funds, $10,000 come in donations of 2 AC units to the town, and $6,000 came from the 2004 county tax program. We currently use this building for our town meetings. It is also the polling place on election days. And just kind of mention some other uses of that building, which has become very valuable for our community. We've had Sheriff Department crime prevention seminars that are available to the community. We've had 2 of those in the last several years. The last one was just in March 2016. DHEC has had public hearings in that building. We usually, when we have a protest on building use or land use, DHEC has contacted us. It's kind of hard for them to find a place to hold a public hearing. So they've held public hearings in this facility. The Old Pomaria School Festival Committee meetings, which they're currently meeting now on a weekly basis, getting ready and planning for our future festival, which is the third weekend of May. The Hope Station School Renovation Group. I don't know if y'all are familiar, that's the old Hope Station School that was renovated approximately 2 miles below our building. Before that building secured the funding to renovate, they met in our cafeteria facility. Pomaria Ruatan, which is a national nonprofit civil organization, have met on several occasions to use that because it accommodates bigger groups. We've had Boy Scout functions to include Eagle Scout ceremonies and soapbox derbies. We've had arts and craft shows. And also we rent this building out for numerous social events to include baby and wedding showers, birthday parties, and reunions. And just this month in April, we have 3 birthday parties being planned at that facility. Now the second building, which you see right there, I hope this works. I'll just have to come down and do it. To the next picture.
I'm sorry, but I don't normally use these either, so.
Okay. I think you can page down. Yes, thank you. All right. This is the auditorium area. Now, this building is one that's our major focus right now. This is the building that was built in 1935. We have done some renovations in this building. Cost of upgrades of $42,000. Here again, the town and the Old Pomaria School has invested $6,000 in this facility. We've got $36,000 from the 2004 sales tax. Use to dates of this building for the community has been band performances at the Old Pomaria School Festival, Pomaria Garmany Elementary archery exhibition, local church Easter play just last month, Little League baseball meetings, and coming up this weekend, a Cinderella party, Sweet 16 party. And that might seem like a big event, but for a 16-year-old, that's a pretty big event. And St. Paul's Lutheran Church, as you can see here, after the destruction of their church back in January 2013, this building was made available to the church to use. They worshiped in this building for 3 years. Now, we don't have heating and air, and we are kind of limited in some of the facilities there. So, Wilson Heating and Air, as you can see the 2 units there, we were able to put in some temporary heating units which serviced us as long as it didn't get too cold. Summertime, they had to move into the cafeteria. Problem with the cafeteria, you can only service about half of the crowd. You're limited to about 100 in the cafeteria. In the auditorium, you could get 200 plus individuals. Future proposed uses, we have an individual who would like to teach archery classes. And if anybody's familiar with archery, you can set up a target, put a net behind, you only need about 10 to 15 yards. The individual is certified to do Junior Olympics, so she can train people who could qualify for the Junior Olympics. She's looking at using this facility next fall for 10 weeks, doing 2 classes a week of 12 individuals, 12 boys on one night, 12 girls on another night, between the ages of 12 and 20 years of age. Also, other future uses, Old Pomaria School reunion fundraising events. We've also been approached about having beauty pageants in this facility right now. It's just not adequate for that. We've had numerous churches who have functions and probably will want to have functions in the future. As I mentioned earlier, the second floor, it has 5 classrooms. In the top, we've had some painting done in those classrooms. We had some scout groups from the city of Newberry and some local around the town of Pomaria painted those. We donated the paint. They painted the rooms as Eagle Scout projects. Could you please hit the second one? Okay, this right here, this is the bottom floor. And as you can see, it's not in as good a condition as the top floor. We have tackled that top floor. We have shut it off that other groups are not able to get down in that when they use it. We have used the bottom floor to store some facilities for our festival. This is the part that we really would have to tackle and bring up to grade. That's going to be our biggest challenge. Here's where we have the asbestos items in there. We need the asbestos removal. And with that being said, immediate needs we look at, we have to have a new roof to secure from rain and control that. We need electrical upgrades. Because like I said earlier, this building was built in 1935, and if anybody knows about older construction, you walk into a room, you're lucky if you find one plug for electrical. Even on our stage area, the people that are having the party this week, there's only one outlet at the front of the stage, one at the back of the auditorium, and two on the stage. Just want to mention our prior projects. I like to mention those because we're very proud of what we've got through the penny sales tax. 1998, we got $50,000 to renovate Pomaria Park. And anybody familiar with what happened back in October? If we wouldn't have had the upgraded bridge, we wouldn't have a way to get into our park today because the old structure would have washed down the creek. We also built a baseball field that same year with the county transportation funds. And a small town of Pomaria, like I say, on days that they play ball, we probably double the population of the town. Currently this year, we have approximately 9 teams participating on one field with 150 kids total in that program. We have Little League Baseball currently. We've had Dixie Youth in the past. We have hosted the Dixie Youth Tournament, regional tournament at that field. We've hosted a Little League regional tournament, and currently this summer we'll be hosting a 3rd Dixie Youth Tournament at that field, so it gets a lot of use. In 2004, we received funds to do the walking track. That's the quarter-mile walking track that's right behind the school facility. And we get a lot of use all hours of the day on that walking track. We even have some people come in before sundown and after, right before sun up, and start walking on the track. It's been a very valuable resource. As I mentioned earlier, we did some upgrades in the auditorium. We secured the windows. We needed to take care of that because we had water leakage in. We were able to fix some of the leaks on the roof, but with that old roof, it does need replacing. We came to the council after we completed the walking track and installed the playground equipment, and we asked permission to spend those funds on the building, and they agreed to that, so that's where those funds come from. Next slide, please.
Sorry, my knees hit up.
That's fine. And the group I mentioned earlier, Old Pomaria School Reunion Committee, that's a group and an organization we started approximately 5 years ago. We started that to bring a festival into the town, to bring awareness to the building and to the area. This year, we're on our 5th year of having a festival, 3rd week of May. We have bands, we have parades. We probably have over 1,000 people total each one of our festivals. I just want to recognize we have in the crowd tonight the officers that are working this year with the festival, and we're very proud of them and glad we're able to bring that to our town. So thank you very much for that. You can go ahead and get the last one. That's just one more picture of the festival. That's Pomaria Garmley Elementary cup stacking team that performed at one of our festivals. They actually performed in the school district. And as I mentioned earlier about archery, that was the Pomaria Garmley archery exhibition of the group that went to the Nationals and the Worlds just a couple years ago. And with that, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity and just let you know that not only will this upgrade of this building be a plus for our community, but also be a valuable asset to the county.
Any questions, committee members? Just a point of clarification, Mayor.
Sure.
The last part you showed us was the first floor, bottom floor.
The bottom floor, correct.
That's the most important of the project, am I correct?
That, to me, it needs the most work. Now, as I said, Mr. Chairman, earlier, we do need the roof replaced. We have got prices on that, prices identify that. That's probably our #1 item. #2, electrical upgrades. #3, heating and air. Just like the events we're having now, we're very fortunate. We do have fans in the auditorium. You can get by pushing up the windows, turning on the fans. But come May, we won't be able to use that facility again until late September. But then again, after you take care of those three items, yes, I would agree that that bottom is probably the most important, biggest need.
And that's the bottom line figure of what you, the lines, and that's what you can have to do the whole project.
Now,
when you phase in,
if we phase in, you could probably take some things off of the top. There's some things added in, like the walking track repaved. We wouldn't have to do that at this moment. We had mentioned putting some restrooms in the bottom half, or restoring what we have. That was a pretty high price tag. We would love to have that, that would help with our festival, having facilities, but things like that could push off to a later day.
do you have a guesstimate of
We
the bottom line you could take in this project?
Sure. I think that realistic, if you look at it, our costs were around $770,000. What you see added on to that are contingencies, what we call CE&I in the engineering world, costs of that sort. Now, of course, those costs, as you come down in costs, they will also decrease because they're a percentage of our cost. I think of the $770,000, probably $250,000, $275,000 could be knocked off to acquire what we need. I guess I would leave cost of the project around $475,000 to $500,000. Now, the cost that you see, that's all from the consultant assisting us. That will get us in tip-top shape, no problems.
But that's good though, because most people that appeared, before in these other
Right.
two previous meetings, they have phased in. And the reason I say this is, and I'm being repetitive of the last two meetings, we try to geographically get as much as we can in the county. We try to please as many people as we can. That's two major things we go by.
Sure.
And you dropping this down, it
Sure.
makes it a lot better.
So with that drop down price, would you include that bottom floor, or is that additive?
The bottom floor would probably, you would work on it a little more. I think the roof, the electrical, the air, that's just a portion of that, around $500,000. You would still be able to work, maybe even do the asbestos removal. If I'm not mistaken, I don't have it right in front of me, but it was 40, 50,000.
60.
60, okay, so it's only 60,000 for that. And that is important. When they demolished the old building, the biggest cost to the school district was removing the asbestos before they came in, took the building down.
With the reduction in cost, would this change your completion date?
Well, it wouldn't change. We could still use, and like I said, we're using the top part. We could still use other parts. We might not be able to do all the events that we would like to have, but we could do the majority of them. One thing we got to be concerned about, if we're going to house people, even use it for rental events or even for public events, church events, we got to be concerned about the safety of the individuals using that facility, and that's our main priority.
Well, Mayor,
I think with those reductions.
if you did do the bottom down and get the asbestos removed and all that, wouldn't it take more like $700,000 to really get the bottom and it
Well,
would
if we
just
do
something
everything that was asked here, yes, it would, to do all and complete the top two, because that's an all-inclusive estimate. Now, we can shift areas in this project in the bottom. Depends on where your focus is in the project. We could start on that and move up. After you tackle the first three items I mentioned on top priority. The top structure, it needs some tender loving care, but it is serviceable. Because once we get the roof on, one of the other items, we need to refinish the floors. That's something we put off, and we probably have funding to help do that, but there's no need to do that until we secure that roof and take care of the water problems.
In other words, if you got $400,000 to $600,000, you could make that building usable, very usable.
We could. And when you say 400 to 600, then you're also gonna have your contingencies and your
Right,
CNA
right.
added on that, but at a reduced amount.
Right.
Would you agree, Mr. Wilson, with the price? And Jimmy has kind of been through this building a lot more, and being the type of business he is, he knows more. Wouldn't you agree that probably with that, we could?
Yes, sir. We would, you know, we would probably need 600. to get it
That would be the
like-
lowest figure, am I correct?
Probably, yes, sir.
But you take more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what I figured. Yeah.
And as far as maintaining the road, we'd be able to take care of that.
Yes, ma'am, and something I didn't really mention earlier, with the cafeteria, when we got in there, we started renting out for social events. We take in about $1,500 to $2,000 worth of revenue for that each year. If we opened up the auditorium to rental events, you're gonna probably look at double that figure just for that rental, because the price of that facility, we're charging $125 for a rental. Probably in the auditorium, depending on the event, that could be $400 to $500 per event because of a bigger facility. The old Pomaria School Reunion Festival, that's a good source of revenue. Right now, you're looking at them bringing in $3,000 to $6,000 clear each year. That can go back into maintaining the building and the cost of the building. And we have, that's kind of why I mentioned the baseball field. When we got the funds to build the baseball field, there were individuals in the county who felt like we couldn't maintain and keep it. We've had that field for 12 years now. We haven't had to come back to the county and ask for money. It's been self-supporting, and our community is very strong in that. If we have that, I think they will take care and will support it. We'll be able to take care of it.
Any other questions? If not, thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
sir.